Hey everyone, this is Jack from the Cardboard Herald, and today we're going over 5 quick tips that anyone can employ when it comes to Spiel winner Kingdom Builder. Alright, first rule of Kingdom Builder, adjacency. Minimize adjacency. You don't like adjacency. You don't want to be adjacent to more terrains than you can help it. So on your first placement, make sure that your houses, your settlements are adjacent to the territory that you're already on and at most one other type of territory. That way, if you draw into a card, you have a good chance of not being adjacent to that terrain type already and then can place yourself elsewhere, possibly next to another power token. Minimize adjacency when possible in order to give yourself a lot of options, especially early game. Number 2, fill in smaller territories. Use your power tokens, use the resources at your disposal in order to fill in those smaller territories, because if you fill them in completely, then you can hopefully be able to pivot and move to other spaces on the board, again, from limiting adjacency. If you have like a small 5 canyon space region and another canyon card comes up and you're not adjacent to any other canyons, then boom, you have a ticket to anywhere on the board that you could possibly want to go. Well, as long as it's in canyons, because that's the rules of the game. And speaking of that, number 3, movement and adjacency manipulation powers are incredibly powerful in this game. Yeah, it is nice to get additional settlements on the board, but if you can make yourself adjacent to the territories you want to be adjacent to and remove adjacency using paddocks or rocket camels, well, we call them rocket camels, or ships, or any number of different powers that are available in the now 1 billion expansions to Kingdom Builder. And in addition to manipulating adjacency, it lets you override that confining mechanic of the game, the central mechanic that forces you to build adjacent in order to make sure that you are better capitalizing on the point scoring cards that are revealed for this game. Movement powers, especially rocket camels, are the dopest powers. Number 4 is just seeing the forest for the trees. If you are making a placement of a settlement, think about how is this feeding into any of the goals? Do I have a way of making sure that it fits in at least one of the goals, preferably 2 at the same time? Because that's how you're going to end up getting points. Oftentimes, I see players get lost in minimizing or maximizing adjacency because some dude on the internet told them that the first 3 rules of the game are all about manipulating adjacency, but don't let that lead you astray. You do want to make sure that you're scoring points. So every settlement that you place, every turn that you take, think about what are the actual scoring conditions and how are these settlements going to feed into that or better empower you to feed into that later on. And number 5, when you got a good engine going, when you got powers going, when you kind of know how you're going to be tackling the different goals of the game, drain that supply. Use every power at your disposal to make sure that you are running out of tokens, your settlement tokens, as quick as possible, so that way you can see the beads of sweat pooling up on your opponent's faces because you have so much more on the board. Even if it means somewhat sacrificing some of the points that you might be able to get for each individual settlement, if you have just drained your supply so much quicker that you're denying your opponents a couple rounds worth of settlements, then you're usually going to be in really good shape. So once you got things cooking, drain the supply. And that's it. Those are our 5 tips for this monstrous, beautiful, abstract beast Kingdom Builder. But those certainly aren't the only tips. Let me know, what are my tips that you take on bridge with, and what are your own tips that you give for anyone to up their game when it comes to Kingdom Builder? As always, thanks for watching, thanks for gaming, thanks for being awesome, thanks for being supportive. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.